Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show. We are coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Thank you for finding us here on a Monday night, our 100th episode. So, Christian, I am Andrew Pezzelli. Christian Lawber should be along in a moment. I guess he just wants to make his entrance in style. So we will bring you Christian as soon as we can, as soon as he decides to make himself available. But we have plenty to get into here tonight. You can reach us anytime in the live stream through the chats or by emailing the show, the360sportshow at gmail.com. We have some breaking news just recently in the NFL that we're going to get to, along with recapping the past week and all the major stories from the past week in sports. But as I said, it's our 100th episode, so a little bit of retrospection. Well, wanted to get into that with Christian when he gets here. For now, I start with the breaking news, which is that the NFL is mandating vaccine boost 1 and tier 2 personnel. That just came out about a minute ago in light of the rise in cases that the NFL has seen today in their mandatory testing. Players are tested as well, far less frequently than unvaccinated players. But the NFL, concerned enough with the spike to kind of amend their vaccine mandates. We'll try and see. Let's see if there's any opinionated news making here, something maybe from any of the major players. Let's see. This is Diana Rossini. A memo from the NFL is expected to go out tomorrow morning to inform teams that all Tier 1 and Tier 2 employees are mandated to receive a booster shot. The NFL is requiring all Tier 1 and Tier 2. That's Doug Kyde. Lindsey Jones has the full memo. Okay, here we go. Mark Maskey. The NFL's new vaccine booster requirement does not apply to players. It applies to Tier 1 and Tier 2 team staffers. So they're not doing it. I mean, they would have to get the unions involved with the players for that. But for now, the Tier 1 and Tier 2 personnel are going to have to be vaccinated. And that's all because of this Omicron variant, the variants running amok of everything. And these leagues wanting to try and keep things on the rails. To give further and in-depth thought and opinion to this, we finally now welcome to the show Christian Lawber. Christian, thank you for joining us here tonight.
Finally? What do you mean? It's been like 4 minutes. Yeah, I don't even know what I came into, but you want to reset the scene for me? I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah. So before we delve into the whole 100th episode thing, a little bit here and a little bit of perspective, the breaking news in just the last 10 minutes is that the NFL is mandating vaccine booster shots for all Tier 1 and Tier 2 personnel. Not players. Obviously, they'd have to, but there could be something coming for players. But obviously, you'd have to get the players' union on board with all of that. And we know how that can go. So for now, just Tier 1 and Tier 2 personnel for teams mandated to get a booster shot. And I think this makes sense. I mean, you're looking at, look what's happening right now in Calgary with the Flames. I mean, it's all vaccinated staff members and team players testing positive because of probably the variant. And this is just going to be another part of how these teams. There's not going to be another shutdown. These leagues are not going to want to shut down, and so the vaccines are the way forward. And this is just what we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's a lot of question marks with there's still no real data on this new variant or whatever it is. So they don't know. Some say it's worse. Some say it's not that bad as the Delta, which is like the prominent one in the United States. But either way, this is kind of the way forward, right? They're going to have to manage this, whether it's natural immunity through, players ending up in protocol or staff ending up in protocol. We're at the stage where if you're vaccinated, chances are you'll be fine. That's just what the data says. So if they're mandating the booster to keep leagues open, I understand that somewhat. And I'm sure people will not be super on board with it. If they've gotten 2 doses already, some might not be on board with it, which I also understand that. Some young people, I mean, look, they can do whatever they want. If they got the 2-dose shot or whatever, they don't want to get the third for whatever reason. That's their prerogative. But this is kind of the way forward at this point. And I mean, never mind the Flame situation, the Chicago Bulls situation, let alone the NFL. There's like 37 positive new cases today. So this is going to happen. I think, look, we're looking at a situation where this thing is not going away. People who have this mindset of like COVID zero, it's just not going to be a thing. Hopefully it'll be endemic, right? And we can get back to like this will be
like your normal sniffles. So I got the sniffles.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little sniffle. But for now, this is the way forward, and it's the same in whatever federal government as it is in these leagues. It's going to be mandated. People are going to have to get it. If they don't, we'll see. Who knows? I don't know that, I read something too that said like maybe they'll change it to fully vaccinated as 3 shots, not 2. And so there's still going to be some question marks here moving forward.
Luckily, the NFL does not have a CBA that it has to negotiate right now because all this sort of stuff's going to be also a part of baseball. Oh boy. We'll have plenty of time before that whole mess is settled out.
Yeah,
I was gonna leave this till later in the show, but I mean, it kind of we can bring this up now. Earlier today, reports out of Brooklyn that the Nets are optimistic about Kyrie Irving playing for them this year, which means there's 3 possibilities here, right? The state is going to just reverse course and say, you know what, Kyrie, you don't need a vaccine. We're going to lift mandates. The team is going to budge and let him play road games, not practice with the team, but come on road trips and play, or he's going to get vaccinated. Out of those 3, Christian, which do you think is possible?
God.
Or more likely.
At this stage, it's going to be, God, I don't even know. I would say pick number 2, but I don't know. I mean, look, I think it's like
number 3, my lord.
With this guy, I think anything is possible.
I doubt he's going to get vaccinated, and if anything, this could start going the other way. I mean, by time January rolls around, that's kind of where people have been ballparking. They're saying, well, they play like 27 out of their last 41 games on the road, So maybe you wait till January, you bring him back. I mean, I don't know how he would practice. I don't know what shape Kyrie's in. I don't know what he's up to. How you would fit him in, and then say like what he doesn't play home games in the playoffs would be really, really weird dynamic. Maybe this is them trying to maybe boost some trade value because that whole thing is going to start heating up come Wednesday once players who were signed in the offseason are eligible to be traded. And I'd say now, if we're seeing the NFL taking proactive steps, this is going to happen in the NBA too. I mean, they already had vaccine mandates for personnel, nothing for players. But I doubt nothing's going to change in New York. And so odds are, if he does play and the Nets just say, hey, whatever, come play on the road, I think that's nuts.
Yeah.
But I'd say out of all of that, that's the most likely thing. Unless other cities start adopting mandates. Which, hey, if you're Philly, I mean, if you're the 76ers and like, hey, your guys are like all good, like be pushed in the legislature. Come on. Kyrie can't play here. Can't play in playoff games. I don't know. Crazy. I mean, I'd say after today's news, especially, I know it's the NFL, but we're gonna see then the next step be taken in all these other leagues too. Guys like Kyrie who are holding out. Matt in the comment section. Matt Murphy, NBA cap and draft expert.
Look at that. Matt
Murphy hopping in the comment section.
What do we owe the pleasure?
He says reportedly being staying in great shape. I think more likely Kyrie does play this year. And you want to know what? It's not in Brooklyn. I think the odds are they're just trying to hype him up a bit, and he's going to somehow be in one of these giant packages. He says, Kyrie with the 4D chess move to skip the regular season in an effort to one-up his father, LeBron. Yeah, just show up in the postseason and ball out. Unfortunately, he won't be doing it in Brooklyn, at least for home games. He wouldn't be doing it in Brooklyn no matter what. He can't do it in Brooklyn.
Is this a Tampa Bay Lightning situation where we push Kyrie down the end of the line, get another max player, and then Kyrie comes back for the postseason run?
Yeah, like somehow. I mean, hey, these are the types of weirdo questions. I can say this is why we pay Matt, but we don't pay Matt. We just give him tons of respect and adulation.
Yeah.
What are the rules? Like, I mean, I think right now they're paying him in full. They're paying him to just stay at home and watch games, play 2K, and obviously, I guess, stay in shape. But can they, like, come January, some date, it's like, oh, well, player hasn't reported or player's not here. I mean, they sent him home. He showed up. He wants to play, but they sent him home. I don't know if because of that, there's no like way to say like, oh, he's not playing, blah 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 blah, and they like recoup salary and then oh no wait, but no wait, he's back for the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know what kind of shenanigans could be going on there. Either way though, the NBA historically and the NHL didn't want to step and squash any of that stuff with the Lightning. The NBA has a long history of over-involvement with roster moves. So there's no shenanigans in the NBA. Even though David Stern is gone, rest in peace. Adam Silver's not going to let any of that stuff fly either.
Agreed. I mean, look, I don't know what Kyrie's going to do. Who knows what Kyrie's going to do? The only person that knows anything about Kyrie is Kyrie. So
it's very, very, very true. Before we get into the whole slew of other things, tons of NFL storylines from the past week, and obviously some more NBA stuff. Christian, it snuck up on me. I was just looking at it today, getting ready to prep. Episode number 100. Now, I know we've had a couple of emergency pods here. So kind of if you really want to be nitpicky, this isn't our 100th broadcast or show. But as far as full-fledged episodes, this is it. And I think it's kind of crazy. We started January 2020 doing this show doing this show in person, sitting less than 6 feet away, no mask, just screaming at each other. And now we have spent 92 episots
like this.
And the evolution of figuring this whole setup out. Our first COVID episode we had to do with, I think I had an old iPod Touch that had Skype, and that's how I was pulling you in, and all cables running everywhere. This could run into this thing that could bring in. Obviously, we've had a couple of Cyber Mondays to up the gear, but I think it's just kind of crazy. I mean, luckily we found a way to get through a time with no sports to finally have sports to talk about. But just kind of crazy. The 23 months it's been. Along the way here,
a lot of top fives and movies and God knows what else during the
burger challenge, the 43 lockdown. Burgers with old Doza.
So hey, we got here somehow. What a wild ride it's been. Did not think when we sat down to say, hey, you want to do this, that we would be doing it this way in this world. But
yeah. No, hey, you know what? In a way, we've changed the world.
We rallied. Yep.
Yeah.
Or or worse.
So I'm sure as we go throughout the show, any of our we appreciate all of our consistent and frequent listeners. I mean, obviously Matt has been a frequent contributor to the show, but guys like Jake and Colin. Who jump in every now and again, the random Twitch people, Dark Sage, wherever you are.
Sage. Yep, Nick is always in the comments as well.
Nick, all these guys, we appreciate you being with us here every week. So listeners help make this show fun. It's fun if me and Christian just yell at each other, but you guys giving us questions and new things to yell about, it really drives it. So we appreciate all you guys. Pete and Gansett, can't forget Pete and Gansett.
Can't forget about Pete and Gansett. He always has a good golf take for us.
Matt in the comment section about the Kyrie thing. Is Kyrie being paid? Can I get that job? Just zen out with some incense and watch people talk about you on TNT, LOL. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he is. That's as far as I've seen. I was reading the article today about him being optimistic about playing. Shams Charania had that. That the Nets are optimistic. He also added, I don't know why. There's no reporting on why. They just are. I mean, I also wonder how it would go. He's Kyrie, the voice for the voiceless. If then he just decides to get the shot and play. It's like, what happens to those voiceless people, Kyrie? And what are those voiceless people gonna do about? I mean, he became their, the guy that they, were standing up with. Like, oh yes, I stand with Kyrie, and then he goes and gets the shot. Like, what's those?
What was all that about?
The side stories. Colin in the comment section, I would have thought after 100 episodes the Celtics would have stopped being mediocre, but here we are. Congratulations, boys. 100.
Oh,
yeah, it is.
Celtics thoughts for you later, I think.
I should go through later this week. I should go through and try and find episode 1 what our Celtics takes were. What were we discussing at the Celtics at that time? I mean, late January, early February 2020, probably the Celtics were coming off that big double overtime win versus the Clippers in Boston. Tatum, I think, dropped 40-something. Gordon Hayward,
Yep.
Had was struggling and then had big night in overtime and double OT, with steals and little mid-range pull-up jump shots and stuff and blocks. And we were saying, this is, they're taking the next step. And it's really, I mean, they made a conference final, but it's been...
They took a couple steps forward, and then they took about 16 back. So it really hasn't got them too far. I think we, on the show, have been further than they have.
Yes. We have grown and improved more than the Celtics have in the last 23 months. Those are kind of facts.
And it's still trending in that direction.
We're only getting better. We're only getting worse.
Yeah.
Matt says, I would have thought Hayward would still be on the team, but here we are. Yeah, we don't need to have... We're going to have Celtics therapy and later on in the show when we get to some more of the NBA stuff. And whether or not we are trading Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or both. And our discussion on who's closer to another championship in Boston. Right now, just logistically, the next champion in major sports will be the Super Bowl. So technically, the Patriots are closest right now. They have a chance. And before we talk about all the things that went right for them this past weekend, sitting at home, I want to talk about that Bills game. Because we were on the air last Monday for that. Ran through the show, got to watch it. Christian, I know we kind of differed on this. I love the winter games, the weather games, oddball things. I think that made the wind like that. I think it made for great TV. Maybe it doesn't make for a great game, but it made for great TV. And the fact that Bill Belichick decided to just absolutely bully the Buffalo Bills and say, you know what? Even Josh McDaniels say, yeah, we could have thrown it 15 times. Maybe that's on me. But they only throw the ball 3 times, and they just run it down the Buffalo Bills' throats. And now they have to hang on at the end to win. They get a big stop. Miles Bryant has to, make a play, a guy who, we've both harped on, me especially. But the defense makes a play. You win 14-10 in those conditions. playing bully ball.
I think running over the Buffalo Bills is an overstatement. I'll be honest.
What? Why? Why is that an overstatement?
Because the Bills stopped you pretty much every time except for that one big run. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
you got
but think about it this way, Christian. Because I understand what you're saying. You know, you only put up 14 points, but in the end, the Bills knew you were just running the ball. You knew you were just running the ball. They were putting 9-10 guys in the box, and you were still getting 4 or 5 yards a pop. Now, we sit there and say, hey, you know, mix in a pass here or there because they've committed so much to the run. But it's like high school. Like, I think the way the Patriots won that game did more to demoralize and defeat the Bills' psyche than if they had, say, thrown it 20 times and mixed in things here and there. I think the fact that they knew we were running it, we knew we were running it, they didn't have to worry about the passing game, and they still had it just shoved down their throats for an entire game. I think that just does. I think that's a clear statement. Now, you can't do that again in good conditions because the Bills are going to be able to put up points in better conditions. So, but the fact that you went and did that, I thought. Now, if you lose, hey, you look kind of stupid, I guess. But Bill's never afraid. He's a complete psycho and said, you know what? No, it's like high school. We're just going to run it. Just keep running it. Run it. Every time they think maybe they have to pass here, you know, keep 2 linebackers on the field. This is going to be the time they pass. No, just the same play, left, right, and middle. I thought it was awesome.
I think it's just kind of like overblown, though, the fact that they ran it like they didn't really run them over. I think 2 series. One, obviously, the Damian Harris. What did I just say? Damian Harris breakaway run for like 64 yards. And then Ramondre Stevenson had a really, really good drive where the guy bounces off people. He's quick, and he bounced off a couple guys and got a number of yards on that drive, and they drove it down. And I think they ended up with a field goal, if I'm not mistaken, on that drive, as they did most of the day. But I just think it's a little bit overblown because I think the Bills, if Knox makes a catch here or they make a play there, I think you kind of walk away from that game saying, well, Josh, you threw the ball 3 times. You expected to win. So I just think it's a little bit overblown. Yeah, I know, but you win. Yeah.
Well,
I understand.
You are right, Christian, in the fact that when you play that type of game, you decide to just run it every play. You leave yourself open to one play here or there is the difference between winning and losing, which it was. But they decided that that's how they wanted to win, and they stuck with it, and they did win. And I think, especially how we saw what the Bills did yesterday, trying to do the opposite. I don't know if that's a little bit of McDermott, you know, feeling some heat. Like, oh, Bill, you think you can run 50 times to win? Well, I'm going to throw 40 times in the first half and not even run it once with a running back. I just think, and the Bills lose back-to-back games now. I just think that winning that way, I thought it was fun, especially with, you know, no sky cam. They had the end zone shots constantly. You got to see the way the Patriots just blocked everything up. It was like, you know, hey, it's a clinic in basic, fundamental, old-school football. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? We talked about this, the enjoyment of a game like that. I loved it. I loved every second of it. Did you enjoy it?
I'm sure you did. Of course you did. Yeah, I actually did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good game. Kind of a slugfest, which I thought it was going to be more sloppy than it was. It really wasn't, just because of the way the game was played. There was, you know, the Bills obviously fumble the ball in the backfield about 20 yards back and give it up. But the Bills did the Bills, basically. But I actually thought it was a pretty good game. There were spurts in there. It was kind of lifeless. But overall, yeah, I actually enjoyed it. More than I thought I would, to be honest.
Yeah. Matt says, football pre-World War II. Mike in the comment section says, Ravens could run 52 times if they were healthy. And don't the Pats have one of the highest paid offensive lines? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Because, I mean, last year they were paying Joe Tooney a franchise tag, which obviously skyrocketed.
I mean, he's making a boatload of money, but it's in Kansas City, not here.
So I'm trying to think. I don't think Trent Brown cost a lot. David Andrews might be on a decently sized contract, but then you've got Wynn on a rookie deal, Mason, Ted Karras is not making a lot. I bet you they probably don't. They probably aren't paying anybody a whole boatload of money. So it's really, I honestly, I don't know who the offensive line coach is this year. It's not Dante Scarnecchia, but whoever it is doing a pretty damn good job. Because you can't win games like that without an offensive line. I mean, and those guys. And guys, it also takes, I think it's a statement that players buying in to try and win a game like that says a lot about this team and Belichick's faith in the team. I mean, those guys went out there, and I think just as much as fans, maybe like me, enjoyed winning that way, you could tell afterwards those guys were hyped to go out and win that way too. Because guess what? You see Bill, what a snark. Late, in on EEI on that Monday, how much can you take away from that game? Blah blah blah. Can the Bills use to scout for, the next time you play them, which is in a week and a half? And he's like, well, they haven't even seen our passing offense, so. I think it was a complete troll job to the point that Bill was wearing a Navy football mask in the post game. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, look. Also, part of it, like you see how wound McDermott is, or Bill Burr. I can't tell the difference between the two. But
well, Bill Burr's either he's either on the road doing comedy shows, he's coaching the Bills,
right?
or he's the punter for the Texans.
Yeah, he's a punter. Yeah,
unbelievable. I should pull that up right now for the live stream.
But regardless, I think you can see how tight his underwear is when he plays against either Belichick or Brady, because he just has this thing up his wazoo that's like, God, he's so wound when he plays. And it goes right down to his players, too. I mean, Micah Hyde and I want to say it was Poyer after that game as well in the postgame got into it with a reporter. It's just like the whole team is just wound up, and it just feeds right through McDermott. You can see it. I think we were about 3 minutes into the game, and he was already screaming at the officials for some nonsense.
There we go.
There he is.
So for the live stream viewers, that is the Texans punter. Tell me that isn't Bill Burr. I don't believe it. That is Bill Burr. It is. It's a bald redhead. It's Bill Burr. He's punting for the Houston Texans. Congratulations on the new career, Bill.
He's got multiple careers now.
Multiple careers. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, McDermott. He looked a little bit more composed yesterday.
Still lost that one too, though.
Still lost that one.
Good comeback.
I just think something like that. I mean, back-to-back weeks you play the coach who clearly owns some real estate between your ears, because you couldn't wait in the postgame to say, let's not make this about Bill Belichick.
Some real estate. He's got like a mansion back there.
He's got tracts of land.
Yeah.
And then you play the player who has owned you and still owns you. Brady, the stats on Brady, like more wins versus Buffalo.
I think he's 33-3.
33-3 versus Buffalo.
It's ridiculous.
He's got more wins. He's got more wins in Buffalo as the starting quarterback than any Buffalo QB since Jim Kelly.
He's got almost as many wins against just the Bills that he is years old.
It's ridiculous. Those types of stats. We've said before. Brady is not. He's not the GOAT. He's Godzilla. It's just the alpha of all alphas. Laying in the weeds.
Some might call him the man in the arena.
Yes. Have you watched any of that, by the way?
No, I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna watch I'll probably wait and then binge some of it. I've
watched the first 4 episodes. I actually think it's good. It's not just completely Tom Brady propaganda.
Yeah, I read it's good, actually.
Because of the guys they bring in. I mean, they have Drew Bledsoe. And there's a lot of stuff that you think like, how we know so much of this stuff already. What is there to know? There's been stuff that I didn't know about. Guys being honest about things. I mean, they had Michael Strahan on for the last episode, which was about the 2007 season. So it's actually really interesting to watch. So I do recommend it. I do find it funny though, like how many of these is Brady gonna keep having to do, like again in 5 years when he's won 2 more Super Bowls.
I know.
It's kind of crazy. Catching up in the comments section here, Colin back about Kyrie. I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. Obi-Wan Kenobi on Kyrie Irving deciding to get vaccinated and play. He also says that the Pats game went as predicted as the weather got worse. It was a beautiful thing. Pats had a couple big runs and a couple great drives, but were inefficient on third down. So the big story here was the Pats stopping and outlasting the Bills. Yeah, I mean, there was a point there on the Bills' last drive. There was like 7 minutes to go. The Bills were at midfield. And I said, or it was like under 6 to go. Or like maybe 6.5, somewhere in there. And I said, I think I texted you. I said, the Bills are in 4-down territory. They have to be. You know, it's getting they need to get down and score a touchdown. They're not going to punt the ball back. So they're 4 downs. So honestly, this drive is we're either winning this game 14-10 or we're losing it 16-14. Like,
I'll tell you what though, the biggest momentum shift in this game, I thought it was over after they broke off that 64-yard run. Then they stopped the Bills. Here comes the punt, and N'Keal Harry face masks it right to the Bills.
Not only face masks it, tries to catch it when in conditions like that, you're better off if you're not confident, just let it go.
I don't know if he tried to catch it or as much as he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, he looked like a guy, Christian, who's like you'd think has never been out on punt return before. Oh, yeah. Wait, that's because he hasn't.
Yeah, why not Gunner? Why isn't Gunner back there?
The guy, well, they had him flip-flop. They had him as the deep. Yeah, I understand putting him up front. It's like, oh, have him be a blocker, which he is good at. That's the other thing. You know, why are the Bills stupid? It's like, hey, find number 1 on the field. He's chipping the defensive end.
Yeah. Also,
if you're that defensive end, you see number 1 standing literally right next to you. Maybe like move.
How about if you just shove him on the field? You know it's going to be a run.
Yeah, I mean they're setting that up. You know, Christian. I imagine the Patriots are making the playoffs, so they would save it for a big game like that. There's going to be a play action deep, crosser to N'Keal Harry that goes for like 60 yards for a touchdown because absolutely nobody in the entire stadium is waiting for it.
He's going to catch that ball, get down to like the 3-yard line, fumble it into the back of the end zone. It's going to be a touchback.
Or he's wide open. He just like catches it, trips, falls, and ends up being like
he's out for 4 weeks. Yeah, it's just the classic
10-yard gain. Yeah, that was bad. I mean, honestly, the game you could have been rolling after that, and that helped keep the Bills in it. Colin says, I think the Pats have something like the 10th or 11th highest paid offensive line. Mike in the comments says, true. Strahan just went to space today. What is now? This is just gonna. I mean, already, Christian, we feel the hey, clearly like athletes live in a different stratosphere, they live a different life, blah blah blah. But you kind of can ignore it. But like now, this is gonna be the thing. People going to space. Let's just go to space. You're really gonna know the billionaires from the rest of us now because they're all gonna be leaving the planet.
Where did he go in Bezos's pee-pee rocket or whatever?
I don't know.
I didn't hear that he went to space.
I have to check. Let's see.
I love how there's absolutely zero structure on this show right now. It's pretty fantastic.
It is great. This is what makes us great, Christian. We don't need structure. He went on Blue Origin, which that is. I think that is Bezos's, right? I don't know. I should know this. I know Colin would know this.
Yeah, Colin knows. There you
go. He confirmed he left Earth in the PP rocket. Yeah.
Good to know.
So, but like that's gonna be the next thing. That's just like the rest of us just are gonna have to like, oh look, there goes. Is that a chemtrail? No, that's so and so. They're going to space today.
Yeah.
Spacecations. It's happening, Christian. We're all gonna get left down here.
There was something on Mars too. What are we doing right now? Is this a science show? But there was something on Mars. I think they're going. Maybe he's going to see that. No. I'm sorry. It was the moon. I think there's Transformers on the moon. That's what it was.
I guess Strahan went. Oh my God, Matt in the comments section. Matt put it out there so we can show it for you. There you go. Michael Strahan heading to space. Yeah. There's plenty of space there. Mike says he went up with Jeff Bezos' daughter, apparently. So, what's the connection? Why? I mean, do they know each other? I don't know. It's sports adjacent, Christian. Michael Strahan went to space, so we can talk about it.
Top 5 favorite Christmas cookies. Go.
Speaking of that, I saw a really funny thing. It was on TikTok. Someone took, like the tube of, that you would make it for cookies, where you would slice it up, and what they did is they flattened it. They made it into a ball, and they took like 8 different kinds of cookie. They used like the apple cutter, and then they took each of those little rings, and they put them together, and then made that in a circle or in a tube and cut that. So you had the cookie, which was like 9 kinds of cookie with like red velvet cookie in the middle. Those are perfecting ways to get extra fat. That's what that is.
Yeah, well, yeah, diabetes. But this is like, just for the new audience out there, this is a sports show.
Mike says Russian tea cake stuffed with caramel. Yeah, it's always food though, Christian. Food gets everybody going. Whether it was Thanksgiving, whether it was us talking about back before the Super Bowl, we had our foods draft. Food always gets everybody going. To try and get things a little bit back on.
Might as well hit on this too while we're at it. In non-related sports news, Spider-Man: No Way Home comes out this week. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Eventually.
Oh, I want to see it. I gotta catch up though. I gotta see Eternals, and so I know like it probably won't matter to see one before the other, but I'm just kind of I try to stay in order.
Thing about it.
Yeah. I want to see them in the way that they are intended to be.
I'll be honest. I thought you were going to say I had to see the other Spider-Mans. That went way off where I thought you were going.
Whoa, no. I need to see because the Eternals is the most recent movie, so. The only thing it could possibly affect is there's going to be like a cut scene that could be people who it's like, wait, they're from that movie that I haven't seen yet. Like, that's it.
That's like, I was going to go see Spider-Man: No Way Home, but now I'm thinking about it. I kind of want to see Disney's Jungle Cruise before I go see that. So,
well, they're both Marvel movies. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm saying, like, oh, I can't see Spider-Man until I go see Sing 2. Like, that's not.
That's a good idea, though.
It's not a bad idea. So yeah, I mean the Pats run over the Bills last week, for better or worse, however you want to describe it. The Bills yesterday, we talked about the AFC wildcard race. This is actually another thing. I can pull up a little screenshot here for everybody to gander at. This is your AFC wildcard picture right now. Let me hide the boop for people to see. So
this absolute mess.
This is a giant. I went in today, Christian. There's like an online. There's a website where you can basically like sim out the rest of the season. You pick the wins and losses. You check off, is this a win, a loss, or a tie, and you do it for all of the teams, and it'll say who's made the playoffs, and it'll seed everybody. The Buffalo Bills are in very, very precarious position. Obviously, right here, they're in the 7th spot. They can only afford one loss. That's it. And if it comes to the Patriots, then odds are, even if they win out, they could lose because of tiebreakers. So their season, because they lost yesterday, is on the brink. So thank you, Tom Brady, once again putting the Patriots in the driver's seat to win the AFC East. But obviously have a favorable schedule, though they do have to play the Patriots in Gillette Stadium. So that's going to be difficult. But everybody else here, this is just a complete nightmare mess. I mean, it's honestly, there's no way to even guess. You can't even guess. All these teams, some of them will be playing each other. If you had to pick out of this slop right now, who are the 3 teams that are going to be the wild card teams here for the AFC?
Jesus. I'm saying the Chargers are probably 1. I want to say the Colts just because I think the talent is there. So I would say I honestly think it might stay this way, but I'll say Chargers, Colts, and just for chaos, I'll say Dolphins.
Yeah, I think likely, just based off the schedule, I do think Buffalo gets in because
I think it's those three right there. I really do. I don't know.
well, the only I wonder about is like Baltimore isn't here because right now they're leading their division. But Baltimore could very easily go from, especially if Lamar Jackson's hurt, which again, that helps the Patriots. Just sitting at home watching teams like with their quarterbacks and star running backs and people go down left and right. Baltimore could go from the division to out. I think Cleveland or Cincinnati, I think one of them is going to end up winning that division. And this other cluster here, these three, Chargers, Colts, and Bills, end up making the playoffs.
Well, especially if Lamar Jackson's out. I mean, look out for that division. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I really think it could go anyway. The Bills, I don't think are done. I mean, their margin for error is very slim. Because what's their upcoming schedule? I don't know who they play this coming week. They play the Panthers, who they should be able to beat. If the Bills struggle with the Panthers, now, what would be honestly fantastic is if the Panthers just decide to go, all in and say, well, if the Patriots can win a game running the ball 40-something times, let's just run Cam Newton 50 times and try and win the game. So they play the Panthers, then the Patriots, and then they end the year with the Falcons and the Jets. Now, I'd watch out for the Falcons in that game because it seems like, this is probably going to be Matt Ryan's final year in Atlanta. And he has played well. That offense has played well. And so you get yourselves into some sort of weird shootout. That could be a dicey game. But odds are the Bills should go 4-0 down the stretch, or at worst 3-1. And that would put them in. But
I think ultimately the Bills get in. I don't think we need to delude ourselves to saying they're not a good team. I still think they're a good team. I mean, they're one possession away. Like, I just feel like Josh Allen is separated from like the elite cast of quarterbacks in the league by a few plays that he just cannot make for some reason. Maybe that will come. It's only his 4th year in the league. But I still think that team is good because I still do think Josh Allen is actually pretty solid. I don't think he's top 10 in the league. He's not top 5.
Yeah.
He's somewhere, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe.
I think yesterday showed you that. I mean, obviously, I think if the Bills had put the ball in his hand more against the Patriots, they probably would have won that game. If they did against the Patriots what they tried to do against the Bucs yesterday, they probably win that game. The way the Patriots were trying to just speed the game up and just run. Yesterday you saw Josh Allen throw for 400 yards, throw for 3, rush for 100. And basically they just put the game completely in his hands, and he shows you why. But like you said, there's just one play here or there. He's a little too high with a slant, or he doesn't read something just right. It doesn't seem like he gets enough of the easy plays. He makes big plays, but they're usually, it's like, even in that final drive where they were driving down maybe to win the game, instead they have to settle for a field goal. They ran a little RPO, and he steps up and threw a dart over the middle to Beasley. That he was squeezing into a window that was about this big, and I was like, he just threw a pick. Why did he throw? Oh, he caught that. Oh, okay. Right. So the plays are yank. I don't know. I'm with you. I think he's very good. I think greatness will come when he can just make the easy plays, and get over the hump. They're not going to have an easy road. I mean, if they end up being the 7th seed, I think they're a good team. I've stopped thinking that they are championship contenders, as opposed to this year. At least for this year, after the first couple weeks of the season, where they looked like they were rolling, but you kind of go back and say, "Oh man, I mean, they played the Chiefs when the Chiefs were completely distracted." And I think if they played the Chiefs now, I think they get blown out because
I think a lot of teams played the Chiefs when they were distracted. Now they're kind of rolling again.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Now, granted, they have an absolute doormat in the Raiders. I mean, they're just absolutely complicit in their demise. I mean, that was the ugliest game I've ever watched. We were in town here at lunch, and I was watching this game on the bar TV, and I just wanted to throw up my food because it was just like the Raiders are just what is an awful product to watch. I don't know.
Yeah, 35 to nothing to start.
Yeah,
that game.
not great. I believe that was all in the first half.
All in the first half.
Yeah.
Absolutely abysmal. Catching up through the comment section here. Mike loves Sing 1, so he'll definitely see the sequel. Mike also says fins up. Yeah, I mean, hey, we can't forget. I mean, we're sleeping on it, but wouldn't it be nuts? The Dolphins, could I don't know how much do the Dolphins control their destiny. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins would have to get help. They'd have to win out and hope that the Bills screw up, or the Patriots. I mean, they play the Patriots. If the Patriots lose to the Bills, then that Week 18 game in Miami could be a big, big game. That could be the difference between the Patriots winning the division or getting booted. Not even a wild card. You'd be booted.
I want to see what the Dolphins I don't know what to make of the Dolphins. They have the Saints, which should be a decent game, and they have the Titans coming up. And the Titans probably will go, try full board in that game because I think they're going to be right there. But I just the Dolphins have beaten the Texans, the Ravens, who are reeling, the Jets, the Panthers, and the Giants. I just I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help your competition.
No,
you still gotta, because there's plenty of teams that show up and play totally down to the competition and lose.
I mean, I would say I think they're improving, but I want to see it against Tennessee and New Orleans.
Bare minimum, Flores has saved his job. I mean, it was looking there at the beginning of the season nope, he's gonna get fired. They're gonna let him go because it was that bad. Overtime with the Raiders, as Mike points out. Yeah, that game, that was a crazy game. So it'll be interesting to see. They're making all this improvement. We're not talking about it. They are still very, very much in the running for Deshaun Watson, which is going to come in February, March in the offseason. So if you put Deshaun Watson on that team.
Oh, it's a much different story, yeah. Especially with a guy like Flores, who is a defensive-minded.
Because I think, the hardest part is in the NFL. We've seen it, the longevity of coaches and keeping continuity with things. If the team has faith in Flores and he's starting to get it going defensively, now you add that quarterback piece. I mean, nobody agrees. Mike, the Dolphins fan, is Tua the guy? I don't think so. So,
right.
I don't think Dolphin fans weren't particularly thrilled when they picked Tua. I don't think they can be any more thrilled now. So I would say that they had a quarterback. Yeah, Tua is awful. There we go. Yeah. So I think you add that quarterback. That's the missing piece there, and they're very close to them becoming maybe where the Bills are at right now, which is. And the AFC East becomes a division much like the NFC East, where you could have teams flip-flopping who wins that thing back and forth. So we'll see. Colin says, I suppose a 5-game winning streak is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, you got to respect it, Gesundheit. Anyway, I made the illusion that, Bill was wearing the Navy football mask as a troll job during his post game. Well, the Patriots actually threw the ball less than in the actual Army-Navy game on Saturday. Those teams threw it more. The Army-Navy game had more passing than the Patriots did versus the Bills. Christian, did you get a chance to watch the Army-Navy game? Navy pulling the upset in the fourth quarter to beat Army. Did you get to watch any of the game?
Unfortunately did not get to watch much of this game. I did follow along with score-wise, but I did not get to see much of it actually in person.
I thought the game was awesome. It was exciting. I mean, again, you watch. I think it kind of brings, same with the Bills Pats game. It brings football down to its kind of the base nature. This is just man on man. Let's go. Old school power football. And when you see the running game is exciting because when a thing like with the Damian Harris run or Ramondre Stevenson getting outside, same deal in the Army-Navy game. A guy gets a couple of good blocks and gets in the open field. That's exciting. You want to see the ball in playmakers' hands like that. Navy has a really tough kid at quarterback. I think it's Ty Lavatai. I think is his name. whole bunch of plays where there was like one touchdown run where he took off up the middle, and like the safety came screaming up to like blast him at like the 2-yard line. But as is the way guys tackle nowadays, it was just he just threw his shoulder into him instead of wrapping him up. He was able to like kind of spin off of it. But either way, you take a hit like that and keep on going.
Yeah.
It's impressive. So, and I always root for the upset anyways. So, Navy got the win. It was an exciting game. And I don't know, you got to see some Smash Mouth football for a whole bunch in the last week. So that was fun. They had like, you saw everything. End around passes, double reversed fakes. They had a 4th down punt fake where they snapped it to a guy who was like the middle linebacker, and he like basically shoved a guy off of him and then like dove over a guy and got flipped in the air for so it was it was an entertaining game. So Mike talking about the Dolphins, they should have drafted a QB from this class. Well, yeah. I mean, they traded down with what, San Fran? That's how San Fran got up there. So you could have, but I think the Dolphins are waiting on Deshaun Watson. That was their plan.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson was the plan in Miami.
They have the capital to do it now, too.
They were making moves in February and March, well before it really became a point where it looked like the Texans weren't going to trade him. They cut Van Noy, to clear cap space. They like cut a guy, waived a guy. They had like signed a guy, some offensive lineman, to like a futures contract, and then waived him like a couple days later, so that they would have the exact amount of cap space for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
that's their plan. It still is their plan.
They also didn't they get 3 first-round picks from the Niners as well?
Yes.
So obviously something's moving there.
So you still have opportunity there, and the thing though is like, how long do you wait on that? I think if you're the Dolphins and you're at the draft and Deshaun Watson isn't on your team yet already, you have to just say, what are we doing here? And go after a quarterback. Though,
sure,
this is not the class to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you still have capital there. And I mean, look, I think the better question is, how long do you wait if you're the freaking Texans? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I guess you have to wait and see, because who knows if he was even traded, would he play? Who the hell knows?
Yeah. So, wanted to get that bit in about the Army-Navy game. Christian, I have some hots and nots for this week. Do you have any, or do you want to play them on the fly?
I do have some in mind. Yeah, there's about 74 knots that I could have picked from, so I have a couple. I sent you one if you want to pull that up.
Oh, well, which one is it? You sent me something at the beginning.
Oh, sorry, I sent you 2. Those are both knots.
These are both knots.
Yes, these are both knots.
Okay, so let me pull up Christian's first knot. Christian wants to start with the knots. Oh God,
this is a great one. This is fantastic. I mean, this is one of the greatest attempts in basketball history.
Let's get I have a basketball one for my hot. But let's get this here. This is titled Tennessee's Bizarre Missed Layup. Oh boy. Let's see. So let's get this. Can I full screen this? Yes, I can. I want to make sure everybody here is seeing this. All right. Let's let her rip. Did he want to dunk?
Oh, he definitely wanted to dunk it.
Yeah,
he's going for an earth-shattering dunk, and then
and then that guy missed a dunk. Oh, what a crazy sequence! Here we go, going up for the Gillette. Oh, he missed it.
Yeah, one of the best dunk attempts in history, where you don't really know if you can. I think he took off and said, "I'm not going to make this."
Oh boy.
So
yeah, he tried to adjust. You're better off going up and missing it than doing that. So that's on the not list. Well, we'll go knots to hot here. My not list this week was the entire Green Bay Packers special teams operation, because if you and they've been on this list twice now. Because, well, I also just said kickers in general that week. It was when the Packers played the Bengals, and there was like 8 missed field goals and extra points in that game. That week actually set a record for most missed kicks in a week in NFL history. But last night, if you stayed up to watch, the game actually got kind of interesting at the end. But here we go. This is the Green Bay Packers special teams last night. A returner misplayed a ball at the 5-yard line. He ends up stepping out of bounds, and so with the ball, so they have to take the ball there. They give up a 40-yard kickoff return. Then they have a kickoff out of bounds. They give up a 42-yard kickoff return. They muffed a punt that luckily they got bailed out with because a guy ran out of bounds and didn't come in immediately, which most of the times happens every single punt, and I feel like they call it once every 10 times just to say that they're calling it. And then they allow an onside kick recovery at the very end to keep this window open for the Bears just a smidge. Just a complete that right there. The Packers are not winning a Super Bowl because of things like that. You don't have to be the Patriots and invest tens of millions of dollars in players to specifically play special teams and to make your special teams a great. It doesn't need to be an equal third of your team, but you at least have to coach it. You have to pay attention. You have to be attention to details in special teams. Just don't screw it up. The Packers, that last night and what we've seen this year, they're not winning a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't pick a team that's that bad and displays that against the Bears in special teams. That's one of those things that's it's not sexy, but that's a fatal flaw of a team that is just that poorly coached on special teams.
Yeah. It doesn't need look, I think the Patriots kind of go overboard, right? They pay everybody out the nose on the special teams, but you can clearly see the operation is tightly wound, right? I mean, they're very you don't see very often they make mistakes like the Packers made.
Yeah.
And you just see a team like that and you're just this is just, it's just unbelievable.
Now, in that their onside kick recovery, it was the perfect onside kick. Hops in the air, went off a Packers player, and the Bears guy grabs it, and he should have run in for a touchdown. He did, except you can't advance the ball on an onside kick, which I think is a really stupid rule.
Yeah, I wish that would be changed.
I get it.
It won't be, but I think
I get it on punts because, hey, there's nobody back there. If a guy muffs it, you could have too many easy scores. You maybe you don't allow that. But how often do we see somebody recover an onside kick so cleanly that they could run it to the house? Once every 15, 20 years? So why not? How sick of a play would that have been?
Wouldn't it make the onside more exciting anyway?
Yes.
Nobody ever gets an onside kick anymore.
No.
Unless you pick it up and then you run it in. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'd say that just we have so little. Let us have something.
Give us something.
Give us something. As Mike points out, 2 onside kick recoveries yesterday. So an anomaly. In somebody would have to check. I think the Bears. I don't know. I think the Bears in 2006 might be the first team to have recovered 2 onside kicks in a game. Somebody might have to fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure there was a Bears game, or Bears or Eagles, sometime late. Mid to late 2000s recovered 2 onside kicks in the same game. That does not in the same game doesn't happen. Rarely ever happens. Matt says they'd start hiring soccer players to do those trick kicks. Well, a lot of these guys were soccer players at one time and then become kickers, at college and then, become kickers in the pros. I mean, these guys work on all these trick things. The toughest part is just getting it to work. I guess in that scenario, you would try and if you could advance it, you would want to kick it higher, maybe into the air and a little deeper, and then so you could get guys running to it in the air.
Yeah.
And create a moss pile for the ball. But no, the NFL will not. Why would the NFL make things fun? That's not their job. So that was my not. Is this other one a not for you, Christian? The other thing that you sent me?
Well, this is kind of like a not and a hot. It's a not for one guy and a hot for another.
All right, we'll roll with that.
Yeah.
So let's pull this up here. Do you want to set the scene on this before I hit play?
Sure, yeah, UFC 269 prelims. A guy by the name of Tai Tuivasa, who is famous for his shoey celebration, uh, pretty much folds guy up like a inflatable tube man. So
Over there in the corner. Oh.
All right. He's like an inflatable tube man.
it's a hot for Tai Tuivasa because he's doing this every chance he gets now. And then yeah, guy on the other side, not so much.
All right. Well, I had. Well, since we're on the UFC, I did have this. This will be my. I'll go with another knot for you here. Since we're already doing UFC, I'll bring this up. This was. I'm just watching this happen. In the Oliveira Poirier fight, and I just. The fact that this is just talk about the brutality of the sport. This position, how is somebody not dead? I'm just thinking, just looking at that makes me like cringe and like that position right there. But then just watch as this unfolds. He's got him by the neck.
Happy to be right here.
Ridiculous.
Not ideal.
Absolutely ridiculous. Oh God. Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
That's why guys end up with cauliflower ear right there.
Yeah, and CTE.
And CTE, yeah.
My hot for the week. So there's gonna be. This is a basketball player who went viral this week, and then it led me to finding more highlights of this player, which I will certainly share. His name is Connor Williams. He plays for St. John Fisher. He is 7 feet tall and 360 pounds.
Oh, I've seen that.
This is just amazing. So first we'll show what made him go viral. So never tell St. John Fisher center Connor Williams big men can't play the point.
This is fantastic.
So I'll let's maximize this. So this is him in college. This is him in college. He's inbounding the ball right now. Keep your eyes there. So he comes up the court. And then, down he goes! So he rolls his ankle. Shows a little crack right there, too. Rolls his ankle. Straight away up top. A dime pass for an and one dunk. And then he's like, all right, gotta come to the bench. I gotta get my ankle worked on.
The freaking plumber's crack just makes the clip that much better. He does a barrel roll and then plumber's crack.
I mean, he totally wrecked it. I mean, I give him credit. I mean, he really wrecked his ankle. Watch right here, just slink. I think he kind of stepped on the shoe of the other guy there. But yep, there it is. Whoop. Oh my gosh! So this play went viral.
Though, huh?
A dime is a dime. So that play went viral. Which then led me to finding his high school highlights. Matt in the comment section says, you found the anti-Poku. Yeah. Instead of Slender Man, he's round man. I just want, honestly though, it's really bad. And honestly, the kid's clearly an athlete. I mean, you'll watch these high school highlights and he knows he can play ball. The guys can actually ball. But all I kind of want, like that, him coming up the court with some tuba music would just be perfect. But here we go. So these are his high school highlights. He's only playing like 5-6 minutes a game in college right now. But this is him balling it out in college.
He's got the touch pass down.
This is all his like assists. All assists. Whoop. Which is nasty, but I'll run this back. This is him just shooting. Yep. Nope. Wet. Split gag.
Oh yeah, he can play.
Yeah. I mean, he takes his time getting up the court, but don't leave him open. Splash.
Nothing but bottom too. Jeez.
And it's like effortless. Yup. I love the little fake pass. Oh, okay. Splash.
Jeez.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's
I love
better
it.
that he can play. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. You've seen, like, I saw like last year there was like a kid got into a game. He was like the manager. They dressed him for a game. He was, some 300 something pound kid, and he shot a 3 with like 10 seconds to go in a game they were down 30, and when he made it and both sides went nuts, like, you see those things now and again. This kid is legitimately can play. Somebody said something about comparing him like this. It's like unfound footage of Nikola Jokic in high school, something like that.
There he is, Splash.
So good. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this is going on the hot list. Absolutely on the hot list this week. And followed. Connor Williams 50 on Instagram. Done. Followed. I am going to have rapt attention.
You need those highlights every day. You gotta have you gotta have one a week.
All right, Christian. We've been having some fun. It's time to get frustrated and mad. We're gonna have to talk about the Boston Celtics.
All right.
Who are playing right now? They are playing the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
They're up by 1 right now.
Up by 1 at halftime, 51-50. Impressive because, unlike Brad Stevens' Celtics teams, where the third quarter was their bugaboo, the second quarter has been the bugaboo for this team this year. Bad second quarters. What do you do? They go 1-4 on their West Coast road trip. A really just kind of lackluster game at the end against the Suns. They kind of have problems all over the place. Guys aren't healthy, so they're not in the lineup. So the lineup's not there. But then when guys are healthy, they're not playing well together. Mm-hmm. Is this just a case of Ime needs time, and we're expecting so much right away, and the injuries have hurt this, and you got to give it a year, and we've got to just forget about expectations and let this young core get old together. It takes till year 6, 7, 8 for it really to click with guys, as we've seen, with guys on the Raptors, as we saw with LeBron, as we saw with Steph and Clay. I mean, you see these guys, it takes them a while to really learn how to win. Do we need to let that happen? Or is it just not going to work with this team? And maybe you have to say, we're keeping Jason Tatum, but honestly, it's time to just blow the rest of it up and figure out something new. Which is it? They have to decide. They have till January something. Because if you're going to blow it up, you have to do it right now. You can't wait till the offseason. You're better off just doing it now. In January, once you can trade guys like Smart and Time Lord.
Yeah, I don't know what a good answer is here. We've seen kind of the same thing, same trends for a few years now. We heard it was Kyrie's problem. He is no longer here. Then we heard it was a Hayward problem. He is no longer here. Horford was not here the last couple of years. Now he's back. So different scenario, different circumstances. But it wasn't Kyrie, all of his fault. It wasn't the coach, and it wasn't Hayward or any of the other too many veterans, whatever you want to call it. So now what is it? This team should be better. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't care if you want to say the stats say they have the toughest schedule in the league. I don't care. They should be above 500. That's no excuse. And especially for some of these performances, it's just not good enough, not nearly good enough. So it's hard to tell because Jaylen Brown has not been on the floor enough. I mean, that is the biggest problem is he's been hurt, half the year now? I don't even know how many games he's played. But it hasn't been nearly as many as Tatum and the rest of the group. And Richardson's another one that's out every other day. So if they can stay healthy, will it look different? Maybe. I have my doubts. I just don't know if it's going to work with this group. And whether that Smart goes first and then we figure out if it's really a Jalen Jason issue or because I don't know. You brought in a new coach. That's the easiest place to start. Brad Stevens a scapegoat, right? He's going to go upstairs and here comes Ime to kind of turn things around. You bring in Schroeder. You bring in Richardson. Horford's back. You have veteran presence. And it just looks kind of the same. So I don't know what the right answer is. I mean, I don't think you can trade Jalen and Jason and just start over. It's just not that simple. Those are your talented guys. So one of them has to be here, and the other's got to be either here and you get rid of Smart and some of the other pieces, or one of those guys has got to be on his way out at some point, I guess. I mean, I don't know where you go from here.
I think I saw some stats today that in there, I'd want to see a deeper dive into like the last 3 years, but at least this year, in their time on the court together, Jaylen Brown has assisted to Jason Tatum 3 times. Jason Tatum has assisted to Jaylen 8 times. For 2 guys that are all-stars playing on a team together, there's got to be way more synergy for those 2 guys. And it's not like 2 wing players can't fit together on a team. There certainly is ways these guys could be working together to get each other the rock and to help each other score and win. So, I haven't been a big proponent of, it's not going to work with Jalen and Jason. But maybe it won't. Maybe it just doesn't. Maybe, I don't know. And I don't know if that's Jason's mentality, though he seems much more willing to share the basketball this year. I watch the games, and maybe you say his assist numbers aren't great, but I see him moving the ball and facilitating. And if possessions end up with him taking a shot anyways, I'm fine with that because he's the best player on the floor. I do see the ball sticking with Jalen a lot more this year than it has in a couple of years past. Maybe they're just not the right mix. I mean, look at, as much as Paul Pierce was the captain in 2008, Kevin Garnett was the leader of that team, right? Mm-hmm. It's another guy who's a veteran guy, and you had a veteran team, but you had guys at the top who had already walked the walk and could talk the talk and, brought intensity. It was Garnett that really was the driving force of that team. Who's the driving force of this team? I think it's probably Marcus Smart, right? And, Jaylen Brown kind of has some of that intangible stuff, that intensity. Tatum does not have intensity. Tatum is cool, calm, quiet. He's very Durant-like. I mean, I think Durant has a killer instinct.
Sure. Yeah.
But in terms of how they play on the floor, I mean, kind of just this even keeled. You don't
it's not as good.
You don't. Yeah. But I mean, you don't see Durant. Look at him and Russell Westbrook, right? When they were on the team. Durant is not the guy who's making a shot, turning around and going nuts and getting into guys and getting
he's mild-mannered. He's mild-mannered every night. Yeah.
Does Tatum need a running mate who is going to be, does Jaylen Brown need to be more Marcus Smart like, and maybe with that intensity, and that's how they can work together. If you don't have Marcus here, can Jaylen really start to become, hey, now I'm the guy that scraps on defense. I do a lot of the dirty work, and then I help the team. Think about what Scottie was for Jordan. Is that the only way? Do they need to remove more impediments to that? Or is just these guys, they're just too young right now, but they think they're too good, and it's just the chemistry is what it is right now, and it's not going to get any better. I think if you blow it up, I think you go all the way. I know you wouldn't want to do that, Christian, but I say go all the way. Blow it all
and then
right
what,
up.
You go back into the draft, though? Like, what are you going to do at that point? You're just going to be bottom of the
Eastern. Because what are you going to get? So say you decide to trade Jaylen Brown. Who do you go for? Are you just trying to bring back picks? Are you trying to bring back players? Are you trying to trade $1 for 4 quarters? That doesn't get you anywhere in the NBA. That can get you from, if you're got one guy and you're a bad team and you want to like become a mediocre team or a better team, and cash something in. You have good to great talent at the top and you're playing like a bad team. So how do you split up Jaylen Brown and get better? I don't think you do. So you got to bring back another star, but who are you bringing back? I mean,
well, I don't think you're going to split up Jaylen Brown. He's one person. I would say maybe split up Jason and Jaylen.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Mr. Literal here. We will not sever the arm. Actually, that's honestly what we do. We take Marcus Smart's heart and put it in Jeff Green. No, Jaylen Brown. I don't know. I just think there's no veteran players out there that you're going to be able to go get that would make the team better. If you're trading away Jaylen Brown, I mean, does trading Jaylen Brown for, say, Bradley Beal make the Celtics better? Is that a guy that could lead Tatum? That could defer to him, would be happy to defer to him, but could lead him. That's what Tatum needs.
Well, I think it could work. Look, I think Bradley Beal has a little more snarl in his game than those two. And I like Brad Beal as a player, but and they're buddies. But I just don't like, how many pieces are you going to knock off here and just say, well, it's that guy's fault, it's that guy's fault, it's that guy's fault, until you get to the core of like what the actual issue is. Maybe it's just time, and maybe we're just impatient, right? But ultimately, this team needs to be better than under 500. It just cannot be sub 500 with the talent on this roster. And so I don't know where you go. Look, I see a lot of Jason Tatum hate. I feel like he's been pretty good this year. I don't know what other,
the
advanced analytics.
He has been
whatever.
good.
You can do that on your own time. I just, from what I've watched, I feel like there's some improvements in his game this year, whether that's defensively. Is the effort always there? Probably not. I mean, I think the whole group has an effort on a night-to-night basis, and that's an issue. That's a big issue. And I thought maybe the coach would get that out of them. But I just, look, I think it's going to take time in the NBA. No guy has ever won at 22, 23, really, in the last, 20 years. Steph Curry was 27. LeBron was 26, 27. So maybe it's time. Maybe. But we don't know.
Well, the thing is, like you said, though, at least those guys, year to year, were getting better. I mean, LeBron was he made a finals in his second year, right? Yeah. And they're
he's an outlier, though. He's an outlier.
Yeah, but I mean, even Steph and Clay, they started kind of, they were a mediocre team, and they make the playoffs to make a little bit of noise, and every year they were building. Then they get rid of the coach. Bing, they tick off Mark Jackson. They bring in why am I drawing a complete Steve Kerr, and away they went.
Yeah.
In years 8 onward. The Celtics going back the other way. It's
right.
How do you look at it and say, well, they need more time? If it's going, I'd understand if it was every year they're building, and maybe because you were building and you had a veteran plan with these guys being your role players, and 27-18 screwed that up, and so maybe you said, okay, that was an aberration. We're going to dip back down for another year or two and then be on the way back up. But it just seems like they're still declining, which means that it's just not going to. I worry that if they just decide to play it out with Jaylen and Jason, it's not going to work. I worry about that. I want to see it work. And the plan. I mean, I think the rebuild is already lost. I mean, you fleeced the Nets, and the Nets are already better than you. Mm-hmm. So it trying to justify the success of that trade, I don't think is going to be possible anymore, unless you go on and win 3 rings with Tatum and Brown.
Yeah.
I think it's a precarious situation because it's not like they're getting better on the floor and giving the effort night in and night out, like you said. It seems like they're getting worse, all of them together on the floor. And so it leaves you in a spot where we either blow it all up and just get boatloads for these young players and try and go through another rebuild, or wait it out. But how long do you wait it out for? Who do you wait it out for?
Well, yeah, I mean that's.
I think. Do you just say Tatum and let's?
Well, if we're it depends who you're asking. If we're asking you, you're gonna go get Zrudas Ilgauskas for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together. But all jokes aside, I would say there's 3 constants in the last 4 years of this up and down where they should be better. They made it to an Eastern Conference Finals in the bubble, but they should have won that series if they played up to their potential because it was against Miami, who was good but not great.
You got out hustled.
But the 3 constants, to me, I think one of 3 has to be moved, and that is Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I just don't see how that's going to ever work. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I just, in my opinion, those 3 guys have been here the last 5 years. Every piece around them has been blamed for what are struggles throughout a season. And all those guys are not here anymore, with the exception of Al Horford, who is now back in a different role somewhat. So I just think someone's got to be on the move eventually. I mean, something's got to give, because you look at a team like this and they should not be where they are. They should be, they should be in the conversation with Miami and Milwaukee and these teams at the top of the Eastern Conference.
Want to catch up on the comment section here on this. Matt says, here's my stat of the day. Since the start of the 2019-20 season, Jaylen Brown has missed just as many games as Gordon Hayward.
That's revealing, yeah.
Wow. He says that the Celtics are off-brand Clippers. Tatum attacks a chair in an Instagram workout the way he attacks an NBA defense. He's just even-keeled. Colin chiming in. He's been very down on Tatum.
Yeah, he hates Tatum. I know that, yeah.
Winning championships isn't on Tatum's priority list. He signed his shoe deal the other day, and I've never seen him happier. Every young player wants their own brand, and I'm not holding that against him. He just doesn't prioritize winning, which is why
some of that's right. I do think some of that's right.
And that's part of what takes these guys Paul Pierce wasn't a winner until after 2008. And they all talked about it. Those guys, when they brought the big three together, they said, listen, we've all won individual accolades. We've all been to the All-Star game. We've made an All-NBA team. But now we want to win championships. And they were willing to sacrifice for each other, for themselves and for each other to go do that. And that's sometimes what it takes.
Like he wanted to win the gold medal. I mean, he had Durant there, so that might be an outlier because you have Durant and these guys there. But still, I don't think he doesn't want to not win. I just think the other stuff comes first right now, which for young players, I feel like that's usual.
What happens.
It's a bag of potato chips. My face is on barbecue ruffles. I got a shoe deal. I got all this, I'm on Team Jordan. And then the winning comes at 27, 28 when you're really hey, maybe I should win a game here, win a championship. That's what I want to do.
He says, dude is shooting sub 33% from the three. He's got the struggles. The struggle. So do I. Going in the wrong direction, which he can't do anymore. Matt also says, the biggest issue with this team is an effort. I'm seeing improvements on that end this season. We have no shooting. Smart is averaging 10.5 potential assist. Here you go, Christian. These are stats that I know are just going to get your blood up. 10.5 potential assists per game compared to -5 actual assists. That's a lot of points to leave on the table.
Okay, I like that stat, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that just proves my point that, Marcus Smart, complaining about how he doesn't get the ball enough. It's just well, you should have passed the ball more to an open guy.
Well, no, I think he's saying guys are missing shots, which has been a problem for this.
Okay,
which has been a problem for this team.
I mean,
honestly, going back pre Tatum and Brown, with the Isaiah and Horford Celtics, it was okay, we know this team's going to play defense, but they just need a knockdown shooter. Give me a guy who will just be nails from the corner. Yeah. And that's a lot of times, I think the same thing. They have
Grant
guys.
Williams, that's your guy right there.
Grant Williams is my guy. That dude is going to be a 50, 40, 90 guy this year. It's unbelievable.
We should build it around him, honestly, I think.
Well, hey, honestly, though, he's the kind of guy that I think you like to have around on a team that's going to win a championship. Hey.
Oh, yeah. No, he's perfect for a bench player, yeah.
But a team like this right now, I mean, come the trade deadline, Grant's a guy that I think teams may be interested in. If they decide to blow it up, I won't be mad. Because I think if they do nothing at the trade deadline, one, they have TPEs that they have to use. There's all sorts of stuff that they have to do in the next few months, before these things expire. So I don't know. We'll see. January 15th, January 19th, around then is where we're going to start to see. I mean, we'll know before then. Trades could happen before then. But if the Celtics team is 500 or worse, I would be stunned. If we didn't.
I misunderstood the stat, but it makes more sense. I mean, they do miss a lot of shots. And just to go back to Colin's comment on Tatum's shooting struggles, the percentage doesn't worry me as much as the selection does, because I feel he's shooting sub whatever percentage because he's taking terrible shots at times.
Well, he's taking his least amount of shots at the rim this year than at any point in his career.
And that's kind of the problem. That's my problem is the talent is there for him to go get 10 free throws a game if he wants it. Maybe not in this year's league because of the way the refs are calling it. But he should be going to the basket more, not taking these step backs. I feel like the percentage is kind of like scary almost because he's taking the selection to me is just worse than the actual percentage.
Pete and Ganson says it takes more than talent and hard work. It takes chemistry, and the team doesn't seem to have it.
That's right up your alley, yeah. We don't need talent. We just need team chemistry. No, he is right, though. You got to have a little bit of both.
You got to have all of it. Colin also says Olympics is more of a marketing accolade internationally, I suppose.
Yeah, still go medal, though.
Matt says the second biggest problem is they are missing a connector out of the top 10 forwards in the league in adjusted assists.
You got to do this crap on your
Only
own.
2 guys have just as many or more passes made than passes received per game, Draymond Green and Gordon Hayward. Those guys are so rare.
You guys go back and forth with this lingo and this other NBA stats.
But all this is saying, though, is having, it's a numbers way of saying, hey, they don't have like a glue guy. Who's going to take 6 shots, have 10 points, a couple of free throws, 6 boards, 7 assists.
You know what would be really good on this team, though?
Gordon Hayward.
Guy that, yeah, exactly. Gordon Hayward. Bring him in. Man, I wish he was still here. I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you.
Yeah, Matt misses Gordon. I mean, but here's the problem, right? You bring in Gordon Hayward. He wants to have a bigger role. He doesn't want to just be, hey, do all the little things for us, even though you were paying him 20-something, 25, almost $30 million to do those things. It's still, these aren't robots, they're people. He wanted an expanded role. He wanted to do more. Is that what
he really wanted, though? Is that the truth, or did he just want to get out of this a-hole-ish team chemistry crap that everybody talked about?
But I mean, that could be part of it. I mean, it's who you're playing with. It's what the team is expecting of you versus what you want.
I'll tell you what, on the Charlotte Hornets right now, he is not alpha 1. I mean, he's like number 2 or 3 behind Rozier somehow, and also LaMelo. So it's not like he's in much of a different role.
Yeah. Matt says he can have that role now with Kemba gone. I think both of you guys are going to hold on to.
Shooter here.
Here's the thing, right? I think if Hayward never, oh God, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. If Hayward never got hurt, right? And Tatum and Brown ascend and Hayward has his year or 2 of being, part of a big 3 and one of the guys, and then gradually sees his role decline, he'd probably be fine. Matt says, don't do this. The injury hurt the Celtics because of it screwed up the whole fact that you're bringing him back. But it also, Matt says, stop. It also hurts Hayward because he comes back with something extra to prove. Hey, I not only can play basketball, I can be an all-star again. I believe it. And being relegated to role player status was just not going to be acceptable. Matt says I'm triggered. We're not gonna like rewatch.
I want to know. I have a question for you. Right? We've done 100 episodes as of today. How many times has this conversation come up?
All of them.
73.
We could get the advanced analytics. I could do it through our podcast provider, Sounder FM. If you can't make the live shows and you want to still enjoy the madness, you can subscribe to the podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from. But Sounder, we can do search. You can search because it transcribes all the episodes. I could tell you how many episodes we've mentioned Gordon Hayward Celtics. Reference.
It's got to be at least a quarter.
It's good. Odds are it's north of 75%. I'd say it's 75%. It's got to be.
You might be right. And how many times have we been triggered by it? All 100%.
So anyway, kind of to round out this discussion about where the Celtics are at, which I don't think it's a good spot because I don't think there's any answers.
Yeah, much like the Celtics right now, we're going in circles. So
yes, out of the Boston teams, who is closest to and who will win a championship next?
Well, the way things are going, probably Heim Bloom and the Red Sox. No, I'm just kidding. I think obviously without
They
saying,
have to be playing baseball again, Christian, which may never happen.
That's true. Yeah. Just looking at the coach, the whole organization, I would say, what is Jesus? Dude. Don't even read it.
I have to read it. Pez laments on Gordon Hayward 0.18 times per mic possession, putting him in the 99th percentile in the league.
Oh my God, dude.
Anyway, continue on.
I love how Matt was born to be like a baseball guy. He probably could be high up in the Red Sox ranks right now. Instead, he's doing basketball stats for us. Like, what are we doing here? I will say I will agree with Colin. Before that amazing stat came out, I was going to say the Patriots, right? Because I believe in the coach more than anything, and also the organization as a whole. I think the Crafts are where they are, and I think, look, I don't think the Patriots are going to just automatically never win again or never lose a game again now that they're on this winning streak. But I just trust Belichick. It's kind of coming back now here in this win streak that, like, okay, this guy still has it a little bit. He's kind of taking over, it feels like. And I think it's just without a doubt it's the Patriots. I don't even see a close second right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox went on their tear in the playoffs, and you felt like they were this Cinderella team of destiny type of thing, had it going on for them. And then they came back to Earth. And now who knows
Came back to Earth. They crashed through Earth.
Now they're back out the other side, up in space. With Mike Strahan.
With Jeff Bezos.
In the PP rocket. So, and I don't know what they're going to look like. Which Red Sox are we going to get when we get baseball? If and when we get baseball next year. And what's the approach of the team going to be?
Save money.
I have more trust in the Patriots right now because of, as you said, coach, ownership, and the roster construction. They've built a defense, they've got talent on offense, and they have a quarterback that looks like, at bare minimum, he's an efficient game manager, and we hope that as years go on, he becomes a legitimate playmaker for them while he's on a rookie deal. So the next 4 or 5 years, it's the Patriots. That window is going to be wide open for them. Mm-hmm. The Celtics, right now, closer to the bottom, closer to hitting a complete blow-up than winning an NBA title. The Bruins, kind of in the same spot. I mean, it may just be worth it to just, as much as it would hurt, you know what? Trade Patrice Bergeron.
They're not doing that.
They won't. Maybe they should.
Not doing that.
There's, again, closer to a blow-up button than winning a Stanley Cup. The Red Sox, who knows? The Revs, we thought they were going to go on something this year, and then obviously not playing for 20 days, I think, hurts when you.
Yeah, they were one of my 17 knots this year. This episode, because it's just like, you want to talk about a team that's like, oh, the greatest regular season ever, and then they choke in the playoffs.
Well, you don't play for 20 days. What kind of crap? I mean, I think that kind of sucks too.
That too, but you still, like, come on.
I know, and they had chances in that game. They played an absolutely abysmal.
Arena made no adjustments in the first half. He made one in like what, the 100 minute or 90th minute there, and they scored.
Yeah,
I don't know, just wacky.
Colin says the Patriots are closest. I think basically as of this year, the other three teams have significantly distanced themselves. In fact, the Revs might be next if the Patriots don't do it this year. Bruins need to blow it up even more than the Celtics. It's urgent for the Bruins to do it. Celts could do it this year or the next.
It's very, very hard to blow things up in hockey. It's a hard cap. There's multiple factors. The Jacobs family they want at least one playoff game so they can sell their tickets and all that crap. So it's going to be, the Bruins will absolutely probably not blow it up.
Yeah.
They need to get their head out of their ass. That's for sure. I mean, I think they still have talent on the team. It's just not clicking.
Do you think, so we said who has the best, who has the worst odds?
Oh man, it's gotta be, I would just say the Red Sox if you ask me now, because I feel like the way it's going, they're going to be the Tampa Bay Rays for the next 2 years.
Really? See, I think it's the Bruins. because of the Jacobs.
I mean, they're close. Yeah, I mean, I would put the Celtics ahead of the Bruins.
I'll take Red Sox ownership over Bruins ownership.
Well,
the
now
Celtics
they have the Penguins, though. Now they have the Penguins, so who knows? They're not going to spend money in the Red Sox.
True. Does that
Liverpool and hockey now?
Yeah. The Celtics obviously are set up with a great ownership group, who I believe is they're thoroughly invested in the team and the success of the team, not just to get to playoff games and make money, but to actually win. The Bruins, I don't know, the way that honestly, I think it would be better because of what it takes to win in the NHL. If you put Chaim Bloom in the Bruins front office.
This is what I think you're pretty close, or I think the Bruins are pretty close rather to the Red Sox in terms of my thoughts on who's furthest, because I don't think the Bruins have a lot of talent coming up. I think this is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you have to make the playoffs and hope they get hot. And here comes Xavier Tuukka Rask again. So just another guy that is back on this team. Whatever. But they're close. They really are to me. To me, it's the Red Sox and the Bruins that are furthest away. The Celtics, I think, they should be better than they are. But I would trust them just based on talent to be ahead of the Bruins, because the Bruins have whiffed on so many drafts here. They have Pasternak and McAvoy. Those are your two centerpieces. That is it. I mean, Marchand's getting older, but he's obviously probably next captain, maybe. I don't know. But there's just not a lot coming behind those guys. It's Charlie Coyle, it's Pasternak, it's McAvoy's team, really. And then it's just a bunch of guys. I mean, they have a whole bunch of bottom six forwards, but not a lot of top-end talent. They have to do better in the draft. And I just, you want to talk about bad drafts? The Bruins have whiffed way more than, Belichick or the Patriots. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right. Christian, it is time to get to picks. And this past week, we split. The Vikings defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night, and the New York Jets did not beat the New Orleans Saints. So we split. 11 points, though, on the week for each of us. No skin here tonight with Arizona and the Rams. That game happening right now. Middle of the second quarter, the Rams leading 7-3 over the Cardinals.
Without Jalen Ramsey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And Higsby, I believe.
And the Celtics right now, we'll be able to catch the fourth quarter of that game. 76-67, they're on top right now of the Bucks. Obviously a long way to go still in that one, though. Jason Tatum, 22 points so far. Jaylen Brown, 19. So while we've been belittling them, the Jays are carrying the Celtics right now. We'll see if that bears out.
They'll blow it.
We'll see. We could just do a show throughout. We could just pull up the Celtics game and just discuss it while it's happening. Terrible shot. No, what are you doing? But for now, let's get to picks. Week 15, almost. It's unbelievable to feel that that the NFL season is coming to a close. Obviously, I think this stretch is going to be really exciting because of all the wild card teams in the AFC. But
buys are done. You ready for this? Buys are done.
Man,
and don't forget, we got Saturday football now.
Yes.
So Patriots playing Saturday. So we'll start with Thursday, though. This is a good game. Kansas City at Los Angeles Chargers.
Why is this not typing for me? KC at Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers really need some wins like this to, hold on to their spot, because they're in a situation where, it's so bunched up there and you want to distance yourselves. Any AFC loss is going to be a big detriment to you. But even at home, KC is rolling right now. If there is a game for Kansas City to lose, it's this one out of who they play the rest of the way. But I don't see it with how they've been playing defense. For better or worse, the defense, like we've said, hey, 6 games is a good sample size no matter who you're playing, and they've been playing great on defense. So I got to pick the Chiefs. They've got it rolling.
I thought the Chiefs sucked. A couple weeks ago, you told me the Chiefs sucked. I'm going to say Kansas City. I can't pick against them right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think
love the Chargers.
They're going to be the number 1 seed again, which is insane. And that benefits them. And they're just because of the quarterback, and if they are at home the whole way, every other team. I don't think the Patriots, because every other team has so many flaws and injuries. Flaws either on the field or on the bench. With the coach. The Patriots are the only team that I think could stack up and challenge them. But if it's in Kansas City, Mac Jones is not going to go into Kansas City and beat Patrick Mahomes. So,
Yeah.
Chiefs
He might
are
have
right
to
now.
just run the ball.
Chiefs right now are my favorites to get back to the Super Bowl. 3 straight years. So, next.
Vegas at Cleveland.
Yikes. Ew, ew, ew. But
Cleveland.
Brown.
Yeah.
when the game is crappy, take Browns.
I just can't trust Vegas anymore. Can't do it.
No, they're done. They're mailing it in.
Patriots at Indy.
This is so tough because you feel like there's a loss coming, right? Like, I thought it was going to be Monday night.
They'll be the Dolphins.
Maybe. Which if it means something, that could be a critical game. I have a hard time picking Carson Wentz. I think the team's good. They run the ball. This will be the test, right? What can the Patriots do in the playoffs if they have to face a team like Tennessee again? If Derrick Henry's healthy, the Colts are going to want to try and run it down your throats. You're going to have to stop that. So this, every week the games get bigger and bigger and bigger. The elements kind of help shield you from having to face the passing attack of Josh Allen. You cannot ignore the running game this week now with Indy. I'm picking the Patriots because I have a hard time picking Wentz, wherever he is. But this will be the biggest barometer. Because if the Patriots lose this game and get run over, now you're in a pickle playing Buffalo again at home, probably, and obviously not hurricane force winds. And now you flip flopped. Now you're the team that might be on the edge. So for as good as everything's gone, so New England this week, but it's going to be a tight one.
Yeah, both teams coming off a bye as well. I like the Colts in this game at home, and I think it's going to be a tough week for New England.
Anything else? Any other analysis? That's just it? You're just rolling with Indy?
Yeah, I'm going with Indy because I think I'm not there yet on the Patriots' run defense. So I want to see what it looks like, obviously. But you mentioned Carson Wentz. I don't think he's going to have to do a whole lot. I think he can make plays that are there. But I think it's going to be really about Taylor, and I think he probably gets you in this one.
Side pick on this game, Christian. How many times do the Patriots throw the ball on Sunday?
In a dome, at least 35.
Okay. I agree. It has to be. It'll be more than 3. Over, under 3.
Although if they get run over, they might not have a chance if the clock just keeps ticking. But yeah, I'm going to go Indy. I think, like you mentioned, I think the Patriots are kind of due here for a loss, and it might be better to get it out of the way anyway. I think they roll over the rest of the schedule, I hope.
All right, next.
Carolina at the Buff.
This has got to be Buffalo. I mean,
yeah,
2 losses. You lose to Belichick in an embarrassing fashion, and then you go and you lose to the Bucs and Brady in not embarrassing fashion, but getting run over. You make a comeback, then you just can't quite get the knife in, and then you lose it in OT on a 60-yard catch and run. So your playoff lives depend on winning out for the most part if you're Buffalo. So you cannot lose to Cam Newton and the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo. I can't even. Yeah. All right,
Next.
Arizona at your favorite Detroit Lions. Here we go. You ready for this matchup?
Oh man, a
Don't you
Cardinal.
have to pick Detroit.
No, our whole thing was if.
I don't even remember at this point.
Wait, no, I do. Well, I do. Initially, it was that if the Cardinals were undefeated, I would pick the Lions to beat them in this matchup. But then you supplemented that with if the Jacksonville Jaguars beat
Bills.
the Bills.
Right. Yeah.
So yes, I am obligated in the spirit of that great Jaguars Bills game. I will pick Detroit.
I might as well go down with the ship. I'm going right with you, Arizona. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not
you
that
have,
nice.
you,
Jets
you,
at
as a gentleman you are.
Jets at Miami.
Christian, I think because of your previous remarks, you are forced to take the Jets in this game.
No, because honestly, I think a dolphin is underwater. So what is a jet really going to do if that dolphin? Because the dolphin has to stay in his element. So I'm going dolphins on this.
Doesn't a dolphin have to come up for air, though? You get him at the surface.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? You can just go underwater and scooting along pretty fast. I don't know why I'm doing this right now. I'm going dolphins.
I'm taking Miami, too.
All right, Dallas at New York. I'm going to move on quickly from that.
Dallas at the New York Giants. Dallas is, I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence in them because they're just squeaking by. But I don't have like confidence in the Giants for any reason either.
I was going to say, what about the other side?
Gotta pick Dallas. If they were playing a better opponent, I might be willing to pick against the Cowboys, but not this week.
I am right there with you. Dallas all the way. Washington at Philly. Bunch of interdivision games here.
Yeah, a lot of them. The NFL scheduled a lot of these down the stretch. That way, you don't have playoffs like already decided on like week 10. A team versus some Eagles. I'm gonna roll with Washington, even in Philly. I just like the fight Washington's had, and I don't know. I don't think Philly's necessarily got that same sort of scrappiness. So
85-74 Celtics. I am going with the Eagles. The Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Next.
Tennessee at Pittsburgh.
Tennessee at Pittsburgh.
Titans are rolling. Pittsburgh sucks.
Do you want to try and talk to Mike Vrabel about Zach Cunningham? Did you see any of that?
No, I didn't.
I guess Cunningham got waived by the Texans. The Titans claimed him, and somebody asked him about it in a press conference, and he was like, it's good to get him in here, but I'm really, I don't want to talk about it this week. We'll talk more about him next week. Somebody asked him a follow-up question. He said, we're going to talk about him. I'll talk about him next week. A couple more questions go by, and some guy who must have not been in the room decides to ask Vrabel, so talk about what will make Cunningham a good fit, blah, blah, blah. And Vrabel just literally goes like, I can't believe that I'm not doing this, and just steams out of the press conference and just leaves.
That's such a Vrabel thing to do.
Like, dude, why is that making you so? It's a weird thing to just randomly be mad about. Just give a non-answer. It's weird. Pittsburgh fighting for their lives. I gotta pick Tennessee. I have a hard time picking the Steelers.
Yeah, Titans. Houston at Jacksonville.
Ew. A Jaguar versus a Texan.
This is some serious suck sauce.
Yeah, this suck sauce is
this is the suck
thick.
sauce.
Man, all the reports this week too about Urban Meyer, how coaches don't like him and the players hate him, and that guy's got to get fired at the end of the year.
I'm
right?
going Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking Houston. If I thought that they were just a bad roster that was just coached well, that had a good coach, I'd say, hey, you know what? Even though they're 2 and whatever, they could find a way to win. No, I got to roll with Houston.
Yeah, the Jaguars are just
unfortunately
shell. I don't know what the hell's going on down there. Cincy at Denver.
Shad Khan got to be really proud of that franchise.
Yeah.
Cincy at Denver. I believe this would eliminate the Broncos if they lose. Bengals need it bad because I think that they have a chance to win their division to get in. So I'm going to go Cincy. In Denver, though, could be tough.
This is a tough one, yeah. I feel like Cincy's the better team, so I'm going to roll with them. I just feel like this is like one of those games where you're going a mile high, it's going to be a weird day, and you're going to lose it. But I feel like Cincy should win.
Yeah. Go Joe.
Big Joe Burr. All right. Atlanta at the Niners.
Big win for San Fran yesterday.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about how overtime yesterday in games saved so many fantasy weeks? Hurt other people's fantasy weeks, but I know it saved my fantasy week.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, balling out in like the end at fourth quarter and then making plays in overtime. And then the Bucks, obviously, you had both teams ripping up and down the field in the last 3 minutes and then in overtime. So overtime, huge yesterday. San Fran needs this win. They'll get this win. Atlanta, not good enough to go and win in San Francisco with San Francisco in desperation mode. So,
Yeah. I wish it was more fun, but I'm going Niners as well. All right, Seattle at the Scams.
Rams. Rams
Rams are runaway.
Currently leading, tied 10-10 right now with the Cardinals. But they're not going to lose to Seattle. Seattle's just been a giant mess. It would be nice to see them put up some fight here in these last divisional games and just kind of muck up the NFC. A little fight down the stretch, but I don't. No.
Good luck.
Next.
Green Bay at Baltimore.
Man, is Lamar Jackson going to play? Probably not.
I have my doubts. Green Bay's rolling. I'm going Green Bay. I know they kind of struggled last night, but I just feel like that team is just destined to get to the NFC Championship game and just puke all over themselves and lose. So,
yeah. And also the fact that whether Jackson plays or not, he could be chucking them up to that secondary. And
I just think Baltimore was reeling before he even got hurt. Now without him,
and the injuries on
no
defense.
way.
So, yeah, Green Bay.
New Orleans, touchdown. New Orleans at Tampa.
Taysom Hill is not going to beat Tom Brady again.
You don't think so?
Or it wasn't even Taysom Hill. It was Trevor Siemian. I don't
Defense
think
has
so.
Brady's number for whatever reason.
Yeah, but that's gonna stick in their minds. It's not gonna happen twice.
Yeah, it's at Tampa. No way.
Tom's gonna run for 100 yards. You watch.
Tampa Bay, all the way.
Did you see how Bruce
Fire
Arians
the cannons.
fire him? You see how Bruce Arians after the game they asked him about Tom Brady's running and he's like, yeah, he's gonna stop that crap.
No, I didn't see that. That's funny though. I did see someone asked him about how do you feel about your 10-yard run, Tom, and Tom said it was 11 yards, but it was pretty good. I don't have too many.
Also, he kind of went into in the NCAA. They are banned already the fake slide thing. The middle linebacker for the Bills, I don't know who it was, came ripping up, could have absolutely annihilated him, but let up because he just figured it's Tom Brady and he's gonna go down. And then
I think he would have gotten a pair of cleats to the chest because it looked like Brady kind of left his leg up a little bit too.
And then Brady kind of did a little step to his left, the slowest juke move you'll ever see. Honestly, when you're moving that slow and you have guys who are that much faster than you, it actually kind of is a benefit because you could just change direction and they go wee.
Yeah, one of his greatest moments was juking out Brian Urlacher.
Which I think that might be his longest run in his career still.
Probably. I mean, there's not many of them. All right, and then we close out the week with the Minnesota Vikings at Chicago.
Minnesota. The Bears obviously put up the Bears put up a good fight last night, but I don't know. You're gonna see it in back-to-back weeks. I doubt it.
Yeah, the Bears. I'm going with the Bears. Bears. I think a Bear beats a Viking. To be honest with you, especially going downhill. I'm going Bears. I guess it depends on what type of bear, but yeah, I'm going Bears.
Yeah, a panda bear? Probably not.
Probably not. But are you talking about a grizzly? I'm going with grizzly.
Okay. Yeah, we should get a stipulate. What kind of bear are they?
You remember that show? Did you ever watch that show? What the hell was it called? They simulated
Discovery Channel. It was it was like an animal fight thing. They'd be like, can a shark and a polar bear fight? Who would win?
It was like Ninja vs. Human or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Well, there's that, but then there was also the one. It was like the animal fight where they would
Deadliest Warrior. You ever seen Deadliest Warrior?
I don't think I've seen Deadliest Warrior.
I think it was on Spike TV or something. But it was they'd put up I don't know, some ninja versus samurai, and they'd like simulate it. I think we should start doing this. A bear versus a Viking. Simulate it. Let's see who wins.
I think that's an even fight.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, if it's a polar bear and he gets him to the water, drags him in.
Yeah, and that's Arctic waters too. You're freezing in there.
Yeah, he just has got to get you in the water and you're done.
I don't know. You put him in in some woods though with a grizzly. I think the grizzly kind of beats that guy.
Well, Christian, I think we had discussed this, but I think we're going to save it for next week. So we'll put the word out now. We will be drafting. And we did the whole top 5 things throughout the pandemic, but I think drafting is better because then if somebody picks the movie you want, you got to come up with some alternatives.
Goes along with sports too, right? Top 5 is you could do that for anything.
Yeah.
But drafting something that's.
But we are going to draft our top 5 Christmas movies next week. So
and you're picking Die Hard because you're that guy.
Well, we have to have a coin flip here to see who gets first pick, because that's critical. The first pick sets up everything.
We're gonna compile the movies too, but
yeah,
if you have suggestions out there in the comments, send them over.
Yeah. So Colin says, "Ooh, that's exciting." So yes, if you want to get on this action next week, you could start sending us Christmas movies, and let's have the debate now. Die Hard will be in there. Is it a Christmas movie? What are other non-Christmas Christmas movies? What defines a Christmas movie? Does Christmas just have to be happening? Does there have to be some sort of Christmas lesson that's learned? What is a Christmas lesson?
To be honest,
what is our criteria?
I could go without this conversation that you just displayed and played out for us. I could go without that for the rest of my life, and I would be happy, man. But
can we have some deep Christmas movie analytics? That's what we need.
Is Matt still in the comments? You could probably find some.
How many? If the movie mentions Christmas more than 4.9 times per minute,
you could make an argument. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, then I think some of the Harry Potter movies are Christmas movies. They happen during the winter, during Christmas.
Sure, there's Christmas in them. Yeah.
Yep.
But more things happen. Does a movie just having Christmas at one point? Harry Potter's the whole year. So, of course, there's going to be holidays. You could say it's a Thanksgiving. You could say it's an Easter movie.
Exactly.
Do wizards celebrate Easter? I don't know.
Apparently.
So, anywho's, that'll be our food for thought for the rest of the week. Big thanks to everybody who jumped into the live stream here today. You guys made this a lot of fun. Our 100th episode. So, hopefully, we can have this kind of energy for the next 100 too. Because... as much as fun as it is as me and Christian yelling back and forth, it's awesome when we have you guys engaged and on here with us. Colin, last comment says, if a couple of Christmas tunes play during a movie and it takes place during it, it kind of sneaks in there. So I think Die Hard and Harry Potter qualify. So there we go. So we'll discuss this week what our Christmas movie criteria are and compile a list. And then we will draft our top 5 Christmas movies next week. So on to 200, as Colin says. So in the meantime, thank you everybody for joining and listening and watching here with us here tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. If you like the show, you can subscribe to it on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and Twitch. And you can catch the show as a podcast through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from. For Christian Lawber, I'm Andrew Pezzelli. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.